time to rise and shine. I'm Shelby Barrett, the Stonette for the Stoned Roadie Show, and it's time to wake and bake with Craig Reed and Griff Martin.
When we get up in the morning, along with coffee, toast, and cake, if you're like the old Stone Roadie, you like to wake and bake. Now let's join Craig Reed and Griff Martin as you head out on the road. So sit right back, buckle right in. It's a wake and bake morning show. It's a wake and bake morning show. It's a wake and bake morning show. Good morning.
Podcast 63, the Stone Roadie Show action. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to the 63rd edition of the Stone Roadie Show. All the skin information you all want to know is on the Stone Roadie Show. And my name is Craig Reed, a.k.a. the Stone Roadie, and I'm just basically on here to give you a heads up on the part 2 of Griff Martin's On the Road with Griff Martin when he went to saw Steve Reynolds in Jacksonville, Florida here last week. But I just want to break in and you know, we just had the passing of the last of the founding members of Lynyrd Skynyrd, Gary Rossington here Sunday, and I just want to give pay tribute to Gary. You know, a lot of you know Gary was a pretty good friend of mine, and Gary and I had a lot of things we went through together. You know, I was with Gary when John Lennon died, and I was with Gary when his mother Bernice died, and you know, that was a pretty tragic thing for him. And we were on the road and when Bill Graham died, I was lucky enough to Gary asked me to go to the Bill Graham's funeral with him, and I went to Bill Graham's funeral with Gary, and God, Gary gave me Ronnie's Jeep, and heck, I had one of my weddings was at Gary's house, and you know, Gary and Alan were always best friends, you know, and I kind of became good friends with Gary and Alan, and kind of like, you know, I was kind of like Gary's friend and Alan's friend, and then when Gary decided he was gonna leave the Rossington Collins band, I was actually there at Alan's house when him and Alan had a falling. Gary and Alan had a falling out, and and then I went over to Alan's house the next day, and he was kind of upset about the whole situation from the night before, and I was there through the whole thing, and Gary and Alan kind of looked at me and said, "What are you doing here? You're Gary's buddy." And I goes, well, apparently Gary's gone, you know, I guess I need another buddy, you know, and you know, me. And then, you know, from then on, me and Alan were kind of inseparable from then, you know. He just didn't really have anybody, you know. Kathy had died and everything, but yeah, I just got the word that the arrangements of Gary's funeral, and I'm gonna be headed down there here in the next couple of days, and just wanted to you know, mention that you know, I'm really people, you know, a lot of people have been calling me and asking me, you know, how I'm dealing with it, you know, and I just say, you know, it's like the rest of them, you know. I just feel like there's a kind of hole in my heart. It's like, you know, it's just like there's a part of my life that's been there for a long time that just isn't there anymore, just like kind of all the rest of them. I haven't been to any of the other band members' funerals, but you know, I'm gonna go to this one, and so enough of that. You know, Griff and I are planning on doing a little special thing for Gary here after I get back from the funeral and stuff, and we'll talk about that. And enough of that, and we're gonna just go on and get to the Griff Martin part 2 with Steve Reynolds. And thank you for turning into the Stoned Roadies show, and here we go.
All right, so my battery died right in the middle of the conversation here, and we were talking about Leon's house, yeah, in that drum that the guy found.
Yeah, Leon's house was an old church. It's real tall over there, and they actually recorded in that. That's what Leon told me. But I went over there after Leon had sold the place to another man, and I told him I knew Leon that used to live there, and he asked me if I wanted a bass drum that they had left behind. And come to be, it was Robert Nix's bass drum from Atlanta Rhythm Section. It was a clear Zecos.
Wow.
So anyway, I had that for a long time, and yeah, that's on that. But Leon lived over off of Blanding Boulevard. I'm going to show you that tomorrow too. There's another house that he lived in, a small house.
Cool.
Where Craig got the car from, the Malibu, and did that.
And then you were telling me how you met Ed King.
Yeah, when I lived with Alan, when he was in the wheelchair, they getting ready to start the tribute tour. I'm sitting in the living room, and actually had Dwayne's cousin, my buddy Dwayne, that just passed away from the Sam Hill band. Anyway, he was over there helping me with Alan, and we're sitting in the living room, and I heard somebody knock on the door at Alan's house in the living room. People came through the garage, and when you walked through the garage, you came through the laundry room unless you went to the front door. So anybody that knew Alan or visited there, everybody went through the double garage and in the laundry room and in the living room. When you walked in the living room, Alan was sitting right there. He had a chair, a couch, a big screen TV, and the gold records went all the way around the room.
Yeah.
From when you walked in the room, went all the way around, and then.
And he just stayed there all day.
Yeah, that
basically?
was pretty much where he stayed at. It was in his living room right there, because the studio was right out back. It was a swimming pool. We had a swimming pool.
Were people just like, I mean, give me an understanding of what it was like at Alan's house during the day. Did people just kind of pop in, or?
Well, Alan slept during the day. Okay, he was a rock star.
Okay, yeah,
so
right.
Before he got, before he got paralyzed, yeah, he slept during the day and wanted to party all night. So he would talk to his friends or get his friends.
So at night, like between.
People would come over, and the studio was out back. But anyway, you were asking me about Ed King.
Yeah, Ed King, yeah.
And after Alan got in a wheelchair and they started the tribute tour, I'm sitting in the living room with Alan and Jason. Somebody knocked on the door, and Alan said, "Come in." And the guy opened the door and just stuck his head in, and me and Jason looked at each other, because I never met Ed King, and he definitely didn't look like he did from the records. And Ed King, or the guy, stuck his head in the door, and as soon as Alan seen me, he said, "Ed!" And here come Ed King walking in, and that's when they were starting the tribute tour, or talking about doing the tribute.
That was over at his house?
That was at Alan's house, and that was in at the end of 86. Almost 87.
Man, what the hell did you say to Ed King when he walked in, man? How the hell
I'll
you
let
doing?
him and Alan do what they were going to do at that point, because like I say, I didn't know who he was. But yeah, that's what my Ed King story, other than when Mike Estes got in the band. Me and Mike Estes were good friends, and
and then he and Ed were like really good friends too.
What happened there? Mike Estes had the band Helen and High Water, which Alan named the band for him, and he kept playing. And when, like I was telling you earlier, when they had the studio in St. Augustine, this is when Kurt Custer was the drummer, Ed King, Randall Hall, and all of them, and they needed people to help write songs. So they were having different people to come in there and write songs, like I said, from Cinderella, from I can't remember all of them. Brent Michaels, and so
Craig was, well, you can tell we stopped and took a break, huh? This is all your fault. So anyway, Craig was sitting there watching them struggle writing songs, and so Craig recorded the music, or let Mike Estes, he called Mike Estes and told him, oh, Mike Estes don't mind me telling the story about this, but I was there. Craig called up Mike and let Mike hear the song over the phone, and Mike recorded it and wrote words to it, because he was a word guy. So
how long did it take him?
It didn't take him no time. Just like I told you, he wrote songs, one of the songs that I wrote with him.
Right, yeah.
And Mike, very talented. And he's a good word guy.
Yeah, he's working on our opening
I know,
song.
that's so cool.
He's already,
that fits right up his
yeah,
alley, too.
he's, and you know, that guy is just, he's a very personable, humble guy, and he just, I can tell he's fun to hang around on Westies. You know, we love having him on there. So.
Yeah, I went to his house, and back when his kids, and God, I don't even know, 91, I went to his house and hung out with him and recorded a song with him, and had a lot of fun. But what Craig did, like I said, he let Mike record just the music of what Skynyrd was trying to get lyrics written to, and Mike writ and sent it back to Craig. So when Ed and Gary and all came to rehearsal, Craig played it for them. Said, hey, listen to these lyrics. And they listened to them, and they were like, oh shit. And then Ed's like, well, who is that? He said, that's my friend Mike Estes.
He'd never met him before.
No, Craig could have got fired for that, don't you think? I mean,
well, yeah, but you know,
was like, who are you to send in our music to somebody we don't know? But when he realized,
but Craig can get away with stuff like that.
Yeah. There's something else I want to go into about Craig too before I
lose your train of your.
Yeah, I'll lose my train of thought again. If it wasn't for Craig Reed, I would have never met anybody. He came in and just, he never was, it was never about the money or nothing like that. Like I say, he loaned us all this equipment, and it was never about the money. And if it wasn't for Craig, he's one of those, I guess if you, somebody came along in your life that put you on a different path, Craig put me on a different path. And he's been my best friend, and I love Craig to death.
Yeah, when I met Craig, I tell you what, you know, a lot of people were scared of him, and I just thought he was hilarious because the stuff he would post on Facebook, and I didn't even know who he was when I first saw his post, but you know, people would say, ask Craig a question for me, ask Craig this about Ronnie, ask Craig that, and I would say, well, all right, you know, they were my friends. And so I say, Craig, you know, what happened during so-and-so? And, you know, and he'd tell me, but he goes, you know what? I mean, we were talking about it, and he goes, you know a lot of people that ask questions to me, so why don't we just start a podcast? And that's how that whole podcast got started.
All right. Well, the way Craig is now, that's exactly the way he was in 1982.
Yeah,
just that same... You know,
I knew
exactly like that. He would walk
I knew it.
and it's Craig.
He's just cool as hell. You know?
Yeah, he's
cool.
He's
and you know, I mean,
has
he'll
no
talk
filter,
to anything.
and
No,
that's cool.
I know. Yeah, that's why, you know, he can talk about fat people and get away.
Talking about Craig, when he left to go on the road after the Alan Collins band broke up, and he was staying with Ronnie Caruso. That was his best friend. He stayed with Ronnie a whole bunch of different times. And right before he left, Ronnie called me up and he said, hey, Craig's got a gift he wants to give you before he goes. It's over here at the house. You need to come by and get it. And I'm like, well, what the hell's Craig going to give me? You know, he don't owe me nothing. So I went over there, and it was a whole stack of zillion cymbals. All those super shiny ones. Wow. I don't know if they came from the Rosin Collins or if there was some old Skynyrd.
But see, Craig back then, he didn't know there was going to be an eBay.
Right. Well, you cannot. There's no way you could warehouse all this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
When I met Craig, and he stayed at Ronnie's over there was literally a whole back bedroom full boxes of T-shirts, all Skynyrd stuff that was storing. He stored stuff everywhere.
Yeah. He's good at keeping track of stuff. You know, I mean, that's.
Well, they would have thrown, like I said, a lot of that stuff got thrown in the garbage.
I don't know exactly why they kept Craig around, other than I think pure entertainment, and he was organized.
Right. Well, you know the song with the that one of the crew had to go with one of the guests.
Yeah.
And Craig he told me a story that way back when that they'd be in a motel or whatever, and Ronnie'd go down into the bar and pick a fight with a whole bunch of different people. And Craig would tell me, Ronnie would come up and beat on his door, and he'd say, Craig, do I have a friend?
Yeah.
Do I have a friend, Craig? And Craig told me that story about that right there.
Yeah, and if he didn't get up and go be his friend, then he'd be in trouble.
But I could see it. Craig's, like I said, I met him, and I wouldn't mess with him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still in good shape, condition now, but I mean, I'm a little guy, but you know what I'm saying? Craig, I could see why they would have Craig around. He would no hesitation to do what he needed to do. He's told me a few things. Some of the stuff what's really amazing is, you know, he said what he told me was Ronnie wasn't really that big of a fighter. You know, I mean, as far as he wasn't that great of a fighter, but he just wasn't scared to fight. You know, It's almost he was a scrapper. I've heard some stories.
But he said he would, Ronnie, if he felt like he was losing, he would bite you.
Yeah, that's a real street fighter right there. There's no way I would mess with Ronnie Van Zant. But Johnny, I know Johnny real well.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. He's my same age as me. We pretty much.
Yeah, he and I've met Johnny, and he's another cool guy. You know, he's a nice guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I've heard some really bad stories about Ronnie being a bad guy, mean guy, or whatever, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
But anybody that's short, I guess, and with long hair, I could see how he'd walk into a bar and somebody would see him from behind and not realize he might be a guy or whatever or something. I could see more of that.
Well, he wasn't scared to fight anybody.
Oh, heck no. I'm glad I never had to go up against.
I asked Craig, did you ever get in a tussle with him? He said no.
I don't think he would.
He said Artimus didn't either. So
I wouldn't mess with Artimus either.
Yeah.
Yeah, Artimus, both of them are pretty wild there.
So what's on the agenda tomorrow? What
I'm going to take you over to Alan's house, and we're going to start at Alan's house, and I'm going to take you down the road. When they did Street Survivors, Gary wrecked his car, and Alan supposedly wrecked his Jeep along the same time. I don't know the timeline, but when I would take Alan to the store, we would go across this bridge, and he'd always look over, and that's where I wrecked the Jeep.
Oh, okay.
And he said he was running about 60 down through there, and he said the bridge was coming up, and he said, you know what, fuck it, I got a roll bar, and hit the gas, and he jumped the bridge and flipped the Jeep, but the windshield hit him in the face, and that's why it messed up his eye on that. You can see him in that picture right there.
Is it that picture?
Yeah, the one in the middle, how his eye is kind of hanging down. That's what happened to him at that point. But he told me the Jeep landed up against the bank on the other side.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to take you there and show you that, and then I'm going to take you and show you what really happened on the worst night of my life, when Alan got in a bad car wreck and paralyzed. I'm going to show you the actual culvert that he hit. There's a big ditch. It's probably this deep. It's got sandbags, concrete, but sandbags around the culvert. And he swerved and hit that, and there's a big old chunk of the concrete missing out of the culvert right there. So I'm going to show you that, and I'll probably take you over and show you where Leon used to live too.
Yeah, then we're gonna load up your boat and go to the hell house.
We're gonna go to the hell house by water.
I don't think that's ever been videoed, you know, as far as on a
seen
podcast
pictures of it,
or
which is
anything.
really cool. But It's
Yeah.
weird.
You know how to get there?
Yeah, I figured out. But Craig called me up and said that wonder if I had access to a boat. And it's funny, I got like 4 boats
Yeah.
in front of me, and including an airboat. So we'll figure it.
Yeah, as long as Alan didn't rub off on you, because we don't want to go flip the boat out in the creek.
I'm still here. No, and Alan actually had a boat too, and Craig rode in the boat with Alan, and Alan told me about having a boat.
I wonder how he was.
Riding in a car would be bad enough, but there's no way in hell I would get in a speedboat.
No way. Yeah.
Driving, that wouldn't have happened. But
Well, there's a picture of him with the goggles on,
yeah.
and I wonder if that was Bad Company or not, the boat that Ronnie and Gary had.
No, that's a different boat.
Different one?
Ronnie
Yeah.
had a fishing boat that was named Bad Company. Alan had a speedboat that actually he got from Ronnie Caruso.
Oh, yeah?
That's Craig. They had a boat thing, or that's just what I heard. I wasn't around back then.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, that's.
Oh.
But Alan always told me he had a boat. I've had quite a few boats. But there's no way in heck I'd ever get in a boat with Alan Collins driving the boat.
Oh, my God. Well, I think that Black Creek, I guess, don't you launch over there near Whitey's?
No, we can actually launch right there on the same where Black Creek comes out.
Yeah.
There's a place to put the boat in right there at the mouth of that river. And we go right up in there, and that Peters Creek or whatever goes back up in there.
Yeah, I should have brought
I've never been in there by water. I've been there.
I should have brought my scuba tank so I could dive down there at the end of the dock and see if there isn't some kind of a Skynyrd memorabilia artifact.
Right. Back in the 70s.
A whiskey bottle.
Yeah, back in the 70s, I was good friends with Mark Wheeler, and they had the King's Ransom band. And I didn't realize this until now in the last 10 years or whatever, but Mark Wheeler was a good friend of mine. Kevin Ellison is his wife. Let me get this right. Mark Wheeler's wife is Kevin Ellison's brother's daughter. Kevin Ellison worked for Skynyrd. And in the 70s, I want to say 1979, I went to a party at the Hell House.
Oh, wow.
And all it was a concrete pad, and the band set up and played out there. And I got to a party out there. I can say it was in 79 or whatever. It was after the building had burnt down. But I never knew.
Burned down that early in the 70s.
Yeah, I never knew what the relations with Mark Wheeler playing out there until in the last 10 years or whatever, with Kevin Ellison being his wife's uncle.
So it burned down just within a couple years of the plane crash.
But I went out there in the 70s, and all I remember back then was they said it was where Skynyrd used to practice.
Wow, yeah. Well, it's going to be a different vantage point. I don't know if you've been in there since they put the housing development in.
Yeah, I've been there, but I've seen pictures down there's houses like on both sides.
Yeah, they took the cedar tree down, and
oh man.
Yeah, it's gone. I got a big limb off of that before that happened, so it was cool. Gene helped me saw it. But
I noticed somebody had stole the board off the dock. And people did that too at Brickyard Road. They were taking boards off the Ronnie dock and making guitars out of it.
Oh yeah? Damn.
But the last time I went to where the Hill House was, there was no houses on either side of it. That's probably.
Oh yeah, now they're right up
It was probably
against it.
6 months ago or more, and I walked down on the dock and somebody had stolen a board. But the axle, I was always told they built that dock over the other.
Yeah,
dock,
yeah, that's
whatever.
right.
That's kind of like Craig Reed. This ain't the real crash site, but it's close enough. But that's a whole other.
Craig doesn't understand logistics sometimes. I said, Craig, man, they can't build a monument right on the crash site because that property doesn't belong to them.
Right.
But I guess you figure anybody could be bought, so.
Yep.
All right, well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up for the evening. And I'm going to do a zoom in on that guitar, man. That's like really cool. And thanks for letting me hold it and play it. That
Like I said,
guitar
I'm gonna put it back the way it was when Alan had it. I just haven't done
was
it.
played on tour, right?
Yeah.
With Alan.
It was used in the Rosamond Collins band and the Alan Collins band. sitting there shaking, thinking, why am I shaking?
Okay, we got Steve Reynolds here, and
This is later on in the night. We've been talking for a while, and he's talking the secrets out of me.
Yeah, and this is, because he found Alan's guitar over at Alan's house up in the rafters, and and he put it all back together and everything. So he knows the ins and outs of how that Firebird was wired and everything, and he's going to go through and explain exactly how the pickups and the tone and all and the volume and all that stuff was wired.
I'm gonna try to explain. I'm not a guitar tech by any means. I'm a drummer. Those are my drums right there. But anyway, when I lived with Alan and after he was paralyzed, I got to pull all his guitars out of the closets and everywhere and lay them all out. And one of the ones that I pulled out was his original Firebird 1. And that's the original Firebird that I always thought he recorded Freebird on. But I found out here lately, I was telling Griff about that earlier, that he actually recorded the original Freebird on an SG, a white one, and you see pictures of him holding it. But anyway, when I was looking at his Firebird 1, this is what they call a clear bobbin P90. You can see the wires in it. Much people don't know much about guitar pickups, but anyway, most of the times you can't see that, and they only put these in certain Gibson Epiphone guitars they call clear bobbin. Alan took one of these. This is a similar one. This is out of an SG from the 60s. The original ones had a brass plate on the bottom, and they were set up different, but you could see the wires in it. Alan built his very first Firebird was a one. It only had one pickup in it, and it was a mini humbucker. So he wanted something more powerful, so he took one of these out of a Epiphone Casino from the early 60s with the dog-eared P90 cover, a chrome one. And he took that pickup and carved a hole out in that Firebird 1 to fit this down in there, and got it down in there and got the cap on it. Then he took the mini humbucker and put in the front and carved a hole in it to fit that, because it only came with one pickup. So now he's got a P90 in the back, which is a single coil, and a double mini humbucker in the front. But the guitar only came with one volume and one tone because it only had one pickup. So what he did was wire a switch to turn it off, which wasn't on there, to switch from 2 to 2, or which one. He wired both pickups to a volume and a tone. And so therefore, that's how he came up with the Freebird sound, is how with one volume and one tone with that type of wiring and that way, with K500 volume and tone. The K500 are the more better, powerful volume and tone. But anyway, that's how I learned how to wire up his Firebird. When I got it, I put it back exactly the way it was. So that's the secret, and Griffin talked me out of it.
Yeah. So
and I'm sticking to it because I seen it in the original Firebird in front of my face.
Yeah, so all you Lynyrd Skynyrd tribute guys who wants to get a Firebird and start Frankensteining it, however you think it.
That's it. I did it. Or I call it hot rodding it or whatever. Yeah. But Gibson, for some reason, that just scares the hell out of them. I offered the guitar to Gibson and Custom Shop, and they said it wasn't significant enough. And I'm like, the Freebird Firebird is not significant enough to have a signature, but I guess being hot rodded, that they don't sell a guitar with two pickups and just one volume and one tone. But that's how Alan came up with the Freebird sound on the Freebird lead or whatever in this Firebird. And every Firebird that he went through, he pulled the pickups and all the electronics out of each one that he broke or whatever, like the one I had, and moved it to the next one. So going on and on and on.
And when you found that guitar with a broken headstock, that to him it was just trash.
No, I think he was holding on to it. I think one day he might have.
He thought he could fix it.
Yeah, because he was a sentimental guy. He liked this stuff. I feel like that was his stash.
Yeah.
Or whatever, where he stashed that, because he knew he knew that guitar was recorded on Old Grey Whistle Test and over 90 shows, and including the one with Mountain with Leslie West.
Okay.
And that's a very memorable Skynyrd concert, or I guess as I've been told.
And where was it that it happened when it got broken and thrown out into the audience? You remember?
Joe Barnes told me every time they played Philadelphia, something happened.
Oh, yeah?
Okay? He said either somebody would trip over a chord and unplug a guitar amp during Freebird, or Alan and JoJo, I don't know if everybody knows, but I've been told that they had a relationship, and this story came directly from Joe Barnes. He told me that they were in a motel and it had a fireplace, but there was you couldn't build a fire in it. It was just a fireplace that had a heater in it, so they thought it would be cool to put a candle in the fireplace that ain't supposed to have a fire in it. They caught the damn motel on fire.
Oh, hell.
Okay? And then he said another time somebody had tripped over a cord or something. But
So it kind of had a black cloud over that area.
He told me every time they played there, so therefore that guitar broke on April 6, 1976, which was 2 or 3 months before the Fox Theater. The Fox Theater was in July of 76.
Yeah.
So he got another Firebird and pulled those guts and put in it and used that one.
Or else that one would have been in it.
And like I told you before, that's the one he gave to the Climax Blues Band guy, which they played a lot of concerts with him. I guess that was friends with him. But anyway, that's how that went down, is what I was told. And there's also an audio from that show out there too.
Okay, a great description there, Steve. You know, I mean, if anybody was looking for that exact sound, and they might have to rewind and listen to what you said. You know, it was
clear bottom.
Yeah.
Volume and tone with just 2 pickups and just 1 volume and 1 tone.
So there you go, the Reader's Digest version of the Alan Collins Firebird. So go hook yourself one up there. Another great story, and we appreciate it. Well, we're going to get hooked up again tomorrow, and then we're going to have some more fun. So it was really cool experience in here in your little studio. One thing we want to close with, I want to see you play drums.
I can make cool? a lot of noise. You want to hear a lot of noise?
Yeah, let's hear it, man. Awesome, man, awesome. That's a guy who has played with Alan Collins and drummed with him and partnered with him as a musician, so that's pretty cool. Hey, we're going to hook up again tomorrow, so we'll be back again. Here we are again with the Craig Reed Stone Roadie Show podcast on the road with Griff Martin, and I just got up this morning from my stay in the hotel here in Fleming Island, and I'm waiting on Steve Reynolds. He's on his way. We got a really cool day ahead of us here. Steve's gonna bring his boat, his little Boston Whaler jet boat, and we're gonna go take a trip down to the Hell House through Black Creek and then through down Peters Creek all the way to the dock where Ronnie fished over there off the dock at the Hell House property. You can't really get in there anymore because it's a neighborhood, so we're gonna visit it through a different source. That's gonna be cool. And then after that, Steve's gonna take us to a few places where we're going to visit, actually clear up the situation where we went to the wrong place, where Alan was paralyzed, and which, you know, Gene didn't really mean to take us to the wrong place. It's just been a long time, and Gene actually took us right down the road from where it really happened. So we're gonna go fix that mistake, And I think he's going to take us to Alan's house and show us a couple other things. So it's going to be a pretty cool day. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. And that's up next for the Stone Roadie Show. And we'll see you again soon. All right, we're here at the boat ramp getting ready to launch the boat to go out to the Hell House. And Steve picked me up and he's coming around backing his boat in. Cool little Boston Whaler jet boat. So I'm going to help him get this thing in the water, and we're going to be on our way. And there's Steve, and he's disconnecting the boat, getting ready to push her off. And I don't know how much help I'm going to be, but
You gonna grab that rope?
I'll grab the rope. All right. So yeah, we're getting ready to get in the water here. All right, here we go. We got Steve Reynolds right here. He's got the boat in the water, and we're going to be headed that way towards the Hell House. What do you think, Steve?
I think we're ready.
Ever been in this boat ramp before? No, first time?
Never been behind the Hell House by water. I've been there by land, but never been.
Cool.
Behind.
It's going to be.
This is new for me too.
Going to be an adventure.
Yes, sir.
So we'll check back in when we get there. Steve, is that Peters Creek?
I don't know. About gotta be. We get out this thing. Is this Peters Creek? Thanks, sir. Sorry to disturb you. Catch anything? That one?
Well, this right here is Peters Creek, right at the mouth of Peters Creek, and you can imagine those guys. I heard they used to water ski down here. Craig said that isn't true, but I think they water skied more in Black Creek. But yeah, this is where the boat Bad Company, where they brought Bad Company through here. Did you ever see the boat Bad Company? No?
I seen pictures of it.
Yeah.
You know, Bass Cross on it made it look like a rebel flag. Sorry.
Are y'all going fishing?
No.
We want to go see the Hell House. It ain't far, is it? Sorry to disturb you guys.
These are all the houses that they built in the neighborhood that was on the Hell House property. I believe it was 90 acres, and now these are all brand new docks that go to these
This was here the last
big
time
homes.
I was here. That was 6 months ago.
Yeah, these are all new, and then right up here, we're approaching the Hell House dock. So, as you can see, these other these other boat docks here are really from expensive homes and things, but that Hell House dock sticks out. Sorry about that panning. So we're now approaching the Hell House dock up here, where they used to dock the Bad Company boat, and Ronnie used to stand on this dock and fish. The upper deck there is not original. The original dock is below that, so what you're seeing is a dock built on top of the original dock, which is underneath. And then we'll catch this boat.
Boat don't have reverse. Oh, it's got reverse. Okay. Okay, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
Good. And then, got that flag look a lot bigger on the picture.
Oh, here's the plaque right here. The sun's kind of in the way. Can't really read it too well, but and there's the Hell House property right up here. I don't think that they would mind the Stone Roadie show accessing this part of the land right here. And right there is where the Hell House used to sit. Used to be an old cedar tree right there. But they ripped that cedar tree down, and of course the Hell House burned down years ago. But so this is the route that Ronnie and the guys would take, come down to the dock, walk down here. And there's a picture of Craig sitting in the boat Bad Company with Chad when he was a little boy. And that pine tree was here back in the day. So did you ever come out here, Steve, when it was the Hell House? I think you told me it was
I came out here
just
in
a slab.
78 or 79, and it was still the slab that the actual Hell House sit on the concrete. And a friend of mine's band played on it.
Oh, wow.
Here, and had a big party, and that back then I didn't realize what it was. All I was told is where Skynyrd used to practice, and
yeah,
that was, like I say, a long, long time ago.
After it burnt down, so that kind of tells us that it burned down in the late 70s then, huh? Yeah, a lot different than it used to be.
When you were out here before, the Hell House actually sit right up here, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of close to that oak tree.
Gary pointed it out on the video.
Yeah, and there was a cedar tree up there. Looks like
It had to be like
they might. Here. I think they must have done some work to the dock and to replace those boards that you said were missing. But
yeah, the Hell House had to sit like right here. Right.
Actually, I think it was up here. From what I remember, it was like about right here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that cedar tree was almost probably on the property, the other property next to it. So I think it was like right in here. And there's the neighborhood. And boy, they hate it when people come in here and start looking at things. They'll run you out of here.
I told you I can get in here during the week. I have a lawn service. We bring my lawnmower up here and come in here.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, this is my Graceland.
Yeah.
This property right here is my Graceland. This is Lynyrd Skynyrd history right here.
It is hallowed ground, man.
It's definitely, and I am so happy that there's not a house sitting here. And
great songs that they wrote out here. You know, it's just amazing that I'm just glad they didn't build a house right here on the property and it got saved. So
let's see how long that lasts.
Yeah. Well, they've got that historical marker, so maybe that'll help things out.
Do you think the Hell House is like right here? Huh?
Yeah, I believe it was about right, close to where you're standing.
Look at the Hell House and see that hill goes down right there.
Yeah, it's probably about right where you were standing, but that cedar tree used to mark it, and now it's gone.
This is right.
Yeah.
This is my air guitar right here. Damn it, Alan. Ronnie. Don't get
Yeah,
they always said they kept a pot of mushroom tea on the pot at all times.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the house. So I drank some of when I was in high school, and I'm not a mind altering, but I couldn't imagine.
And Ed King
I guess
used
it would
to.
give them creativity, I guess.
Ed King and Craig used to stay out here and babysit it, all the equipment, you know, and that's where
Somebody
Ed.
actually broke into it at
Yeah.
one time, and that's when they started having make somebody spend the night out here. And Ed King talked about that, how gators would crawl right up off the bank back there. And
Yeah, there's been a lot of like video shot of this property, you know, but never that I've seen from the coming in by a boat, you know. So this is pretty cool.
heck yeah.
All right, well, we really appreciate Steve bringing us back here, and we're going to probably head out of here. Where do you think we're going to go next?
We're gonna go park my boat, and I'm gonna take you around and show you some of the crash sites where Alan actually crashed his car and his Jeep and his Tornado. And have you ever been up to the office?
Yeah, I've been up there. Gene took me up there.
Okay, did he show you the windows where the? We'll go up there and I'll show you where Alan's car got stolen from.
Okay.
Scratch on it, tore the knob off the back of it, tore the vibrato off of it, and if you look at it now, it's got the wrong knobs on it, and the wrong whammy bar, and somebody drug it through a small hole.
Yeah, well, let's
Scratched it all up.
go check that out.
We're in trouble.
Yeah, we're in trouble with the neighbors.
Yeah, here comes the Chihuahua.
So we're gonna bail out of here and we'll get back with you soon. Now we're coming up on the train trestle, which has actually been rebuilt since the album cover that the guys were standing on. This is a completely different trestle, but it's in the same place. And people used to come up here and sit on the trestle and listen to them play. Try to sneak back in here.
They got it set up, you can pull a boat right up here.
Right underneath the trestle here, next to the Lynyrd Skynyrd Hell House. And that's a public dock right there that the neighborhood put in, and then right down there is where the Hell House dock is. Oh. Well, Steve, looks like we picked up a little hitchhiker. I don't know if he came from your house or
He probably came from my house.
it might be a hell house.
It could be a hell
A
house.
hell house lizard, you know.
Yeah, he growed up on Skinner. That's
Yeah, maybe he's a descendant of some other lizards that used to eat mushrooms
Oh Lord.
out there. So we're not going to bother him. We're not going to.
We're not gonna.
Yeah, we're not going to let him get ate by a bass.
We'll
We'll
drop
just
him back off at the hell house.
let him hang out. So not hurting anything. Back at the dock now from our trip to the Hell House and waiting on the traffic to clear. What a great trip it was. And it's Sunday, so it's starting to get a little bit crowded now, but we had fun. Okay, Steve, where are we right now?
We're on Jacobs. This is where Alan's office and studio, and where he rehearsed with the Alan Collins Band, and where Lynyrd Skynyrd started the tribute tour at.
Yeah, I've been over here with Gene
And
before.
when Alan owned it, all this was woods. All this right here, he bought this piece of property for an investment, and he built that building right there and built it for a trim shop guy, Keith's Auto Trim. And he actually recovered the speakers for the tribute tour when they recovered them in the yellow. He did it all right there, and right here is where the garbage man picked up all of the Skinner's flight cases and old guitar boxes and the whole deal.
So we gonna get out and you're gonna
Yes,
show
sir.
me something?
Mhm.
Cool.
Okay, we're at Jacobs. Craig's office was right inside here, right there. He stayed there quite a bit. And this was Larkin's office over here. And this is the window right here. And it's kind of ironic that it's broke, but that's where the Gibson Explorer got drugged through the window. I don't know how somebody was able to open the case and get it out, but that's where Larkin told me that they stole the...
So they drug it through this...
They drug it through this hole.
This one...
Yeah, this is inside.
It's almost like the shape of a guitar.
This was Larkin's office, and there's filing cabinets right here, and he stuck that flight case right up in here. But what's so weird, why would the flight case be facing the window where it opened?
Yeah.
That's the part that's a mystery to me. But I had the keys to this place for 4 years. This alarm system was right here, and I came up here after I got off work, and even when Alan was in the hospital after the crash, I still had this building with all the equipment and worked on my band up until the moment that they started the tribute tour.
Wow. All right. So what did they call this? Just the office, the Lynyrd Skynyrd, Rossington Collins office?
Rossington Collins never played here.
That was just Alan.
Just Alan and the tribute tour.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. See that back sliding door back there?
Yeah.
That's where the pictures of all the equipment was taken.
Oh, okay.
Right in there. And this didn't have a roll-up door here. This used to have a bifold door, so when they went on the road with Alan Collins' band, they backed the equipment truck right up here to this back door and loaded all their equipment in there and came out of here. And then when they started the tribute tour, the picture with all the band and Johnny and Leon standing with all them flight cases behind it was taken right there.
Oh, wow.
Right there facing this way.
All right. Great information.
Let me tell you another thing. Like I said, this used to be all woods.
Uh-huh.
And that story I told you about Alan getting me to hold his arm,
Yeah.
pulled right up in here and stopped my car, and that's where he used the needle and got me to hold his arm and looked at me, don't ever do this. And then as soon as he stuck it in, Needle and the Spoon came on the radio.
Wow.
I swear. But anyway, that was right here before we pulled up. Like I say, this was all woods, all big like that, pine solid. But Alan bought this for an investment and built this building.
Cool. I'll just get a shot of it, what it looks like today. So there we go. The office, Alan Collins, the tribute band right there. So Steve, you're saying Alan at one time lived in this house?
I think that's where he lived.
Yeah.
The early days of Skynyrd.
Early days of Skynyrd. Steve says Alan lived here.
Now you need to check with Craig on that one.
Yeah, we'll run this through the podcast and let Craig look at it and see what he says.
Little bitty house.
Okay, this is right in front of a house that Leon Wilkeson used to own, and he lived here with Rhonda, his wife, and this is where Steve said that they lived. And Rhonda's the girl who supposedly was the one that cut his throat in the tour bus. Kind of a weird story about that.
Just being a scratch or something, and it just made it look like there was blood everywhere. This is what Craig said later, because y'all brought it up on the podcast, and come to find out she didn't slit his throat. It was a scratch, and he bled all over the damn pillow, and Dale thought...
I think they tried to blame Ed King for it.
I ain't no telling, but yeah, this is where Leon, this is where I used to come visit Leon all the time, and I actually, you're gonna love this, he got down on his luck, and I loaned him a TV and a microwave.
Oh, wow.
When they lived here, and my wife still jokes about that. You had to loan a TV and a microwave to somebody that was in Lynyrd Skynyrd. But she met Leon and Rhonda, and they were super nice.
Another cool story.
Yeah, 85.
There's another house that Leon Wilkeson lived in
Grove Park.
85, 87 in Grove Park. And yeah, 85,
this is where
87.
he lived when he had the Porsche.
Where he lived when he had the Porsche. That's what Steve says. So another home that he lived in, and we don't even think he had a home when he died. Is that right, Steve?
I don't know, sure.
Yeah.
But it was brown back then. It wasn't red like that. But yeah, he lived in it. Yeah, when it was like brand new.
Cool.
Roof. Okay, we're over by Alan's house, and back then there was an empty lot, and it's right here where this is. And out, people could pull right up there. See that roof right straight through there on the other side of that house?
Yeah.
That's the studio. That's Alan's studio right there in his garage. But this was an empty lot, and it belonged to Pat Rowe that lived next door. And there was a gate. See, that's the studio. See how close it is up on the property line where that ladder is?
Yep.
That's Alan's studio in his garage. But where that garage is now, there was nothing here. So anybody could come right straight through here and park right up against the fence and walk through a gate and go right into the studio. And that's where Alan would come out the back door. If he didn't want you back here, he would pull out his rifle and shoot it in the air. But that's the band room right there behind that.
So where are we at now there, Steve?
We're at Alan Collins' house, and this is where the picture taken for the Alan Collins band with the 2 cars is right here in this driveway. But there's a driveway right to the left out there. That's where you could drive the van around to the left side and go right up in the house.
Does it look the same as it did back then, or is it?
Well, when Alan lived here, none of that addition was to the left right there that comes this way.
Uh-huh.
It stopped right there where that window was.
Oh, I got you.
And right there over the garage where that vent is, Alan had a camera in that hole in that vent, and he could see who was at the gate. And he had an electric thing right here that opened the gate.
Oh, yeah?
And it was 2 gates. They welded them together.
Okay, we're just now leaving Alan's house, and Steve's going to follow the route of the fatal car crash.
The cop said he was going between 70 and 90 when they did this, and I'm convinced to this day that Debbie Watts was driving that car.
And maybe Alan had his foot on the pedal.
No, he couldn't get it on that one because it had a console.
Oh, yeah?
He grabbed the steering wheel is what my theory of it is.
So he was coming down this road. This is,
Plumber Grant Road.
okay.
And could you imagine going 90 miles an hour? I'm going 45.
And we just passed the spot where Gene thought it was, I believe, because it was on that curve back there.
Oh, okay.
So
I was thinking Gene showed you this right up here. But
yeah, it was right by that curve is where we were.
Okay.
Because Gene said.
All right, y'all, we're fixing to have a car crash. The swerve marks in the road, black marks, did just like this and ran right and hit that car. You can see the crash in the culvert. See the down there where the pipe is? I'll pull up here.
I'm gonna get out. Video. So this is the culvert that Alan Collins hit, and Steve said that.
All of this out.
Yeah, it bent that area.
Up against that pine tree.
That's the pine tree it hit?
Both of them got thrown after it. The car hit right here. Look, both of them landed out in here.
So this is where Alan and Debbie ended up getting thrown from the vehicle, and the vehicle hit that tree. And they were coming from that direction. Veered off the road for whatever reason. Maybe Alan grabbed the wheel.
That just gave me chills when I did that swerve like that. I've never done that before. But yeah, that culvert got bent by Alan Collins' car.
Did it knock that concrete out of there? Is that what's missing?
Yeah, you can see it. It takes, you know how tough those metal pipes are. You ain't gonna bend those very easy, and you can see it's bent extremely bad. So you figure that car hit this ditch. That car, probably the hood was up here, but it hit right here and then went over, and both of them went out outside.
Wow, so that clears that up. Now we know where Alan Collins got paralyzed. Kind of eerie. We're at another Alan Collins crash site here that Steve Reynolds is going to tell a little story about.
I used to take Alan to the store, and he'd always tell me when we came up on this bridge, this is where he wrecked a black Jeep. That about the same time that Gary wrecked the Torino. And Alan told me that he had a roll bar in it. He said, fuck it, I got a roll bar. He said, I didn't think about the windshield hitting me in the face. And if you look at the street survivors, that one eye is messed up right there. That was from the Jeep wreck. But he totaled it, and they redid the bridge probably, I don't know how many years ago, but like I said, it used to be an old wooden bridge.
Yeah, but it had the same hump.
It had a big, I mean, if you hit that going any speed at all, you would really, I mean, you can see it still got a hump to it.
So what happened? Did he went over the hump and then he rolled it?
He rolled it and ended up there on that embankment with it, but he didn't get hurt other than his eye, and that's when he showed his black eyes.
Yeah.
In some of the videos, that's what that's from.
Well, this bridge, when you see that video of Alan, that's actually Craig's video of with those black eyes.
That's made in '84, this bridge.
Yeah, so this is where
Alan still got a
Alan
hump to it.
blackened his eyes right there.
But he said he landed up against this embankment right here.
So we're going by just a few houses down from Alan's, and this is Derek Truck's house.
That's his studio over there on the right, I think.
This is
He wanted to live near Allen for some reason. That was
Derek
that's on the water
Trucks.
too. That's on the creek.
It's on the creek.